Okay, so it's been 2 weeks since I've done my daily cyber. A lot's going on. My name is Brandon Krieger. I am the host of the Daily Cyber. I'm a cybersecurity account manager for Usado, and really talking about the truth about cybersecurity and what really goes on in our industry and what's happening. So grab a coffee, grab a tea, and let's hack at it. I'd like to thank our sponsor for this episode, Usado, the Canadian-based cybersecurity company that provides 24/7 cybersecurity support and compliance service that align their customers' tolerance for risk, their clients, suppliers, and government contractual mandates. Usado's teams focus on using insights to drive business decisions. There's no need to leave strategies to chance when insights can be used to show what should be made and how to make them. Usado offers multiple services to help companies simplify centralized cybersecurity management and meet compliance standards. Usado can customize their service to work with your existing IT network and programs. For more information, contact Usado at info@uzado.com or visit their website at www.uzado.com. Okay, so a lot going on. I don't know if you're in the GTA era or wherever you are. Comment depending on where you're watching. If you're watching this Twitch, YouTube, if you're watching on LinkedIn, Facebook, comment below. Let me know where you are in the world watching this, because it'd be really interesting to kind of see what how you're handling the pandemic and everything that's going on. I know for me, I'm in the General Toronto area in Ontario, Canada. And right now, because I'm in the major city, we're locked down, which basically is a very restricted lockdown of what we can do, where we can go. There's only certain things that for shopping, health related, if you need to go see a doctor, anything along that line. But other than that, yeah, it's kind of really restricted of what you can and cannot do. I think the last numbers that I read that, for connecting with people and getting into sort of a meeting, I think it's 5 or less right now. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then they don't want you to really kind of associate or connect with people that are not part of your family or your household right now, just because they're trying to limit the spread of the pandemic. So a lot going on right now in the GTA. Right now it's a 28-day lockdown as of Monday. So a lot going on right there with just kind of everything that we're looking at right now, and when it comes to the GTA. So it's a lot kind of to deal with, a lot happening right now. And I think there's a lot of restrictions that people are now starting to kind of try to figure out what to do. And I bring that up today is because it's really important, because when we look at companies and organizations are trying to figure out, okay, so now we're locked down again, retail, hospitality. What do we do? What do we do? How are we going to maintain our business? And I know I've been talking to small organizations and companies from healthcare in the sense of barbershops and salons and restaurants and things along that line. They're going what do we do? And how long is this going on for? I know some of the rumors and prediction that it's going to be going on longer, February or March of 2021, just because of the winter and the cold season and flu season, and the people getting sick over those time frames, that the numbers could increase and their immune systems could be weaker. So a lot going on there. So love to hear again where you're from, how you're doing through the pandemic. Comment on the side. I just want to give you a recap. Last week I didn't do a podcast. I actually made a mistake. And I don't know if you guys have been doing this. I upgraded my system, my MacBook Pro to Big Sur. And I thought, okay, you know what? Big Sur, it's great. A lot of functionality, new security measures. Perfect. I mean, it's going to help me kind of lock down my system and be secure. I didn't put on my IT hat. I didn't really kind of think it through. I just was like, I got lots to do. Let's get this update and let's kind of move forward. Well, then what happened was, as you're probably aware of, I actually got locked down a few applications. OBS was one of the live streaming applications that I use to be able to do this podcast, to be able to do this for everyone. and it didn't work with Big Sur. So it came up with a huge amount of error codes and what you couldn't do, and it was just a mess. And that was my responsibility. I didn't do my due diligence, and I didn't kind of look at what I needed to do. So over the week last week, what I was doing was I was troubleshooting that. So what I was going through was with OBS support of how to modify some of the files, some of the cache files, to make sure that I can get OBS up again and start doing my live stream, because my live stream podcast, I think, is very important to provide information, provide value, educate the community on cybersecurity, and something I'm really passionate about. So I got that up and going. As you can see, I'm doing this. There's a few modifications. You'll probably see on the side here, if you're watching on the videos, there's a box there where it's supposed to be the chat. Restream chat doesn't work right now on the OBS because it's the browser setting, or the browser configuration in OBS is not working. So a lot of things going on. And I think this goes down to planning and change management, right? And I want to kind of bring that back kind of full circle because I compromised myself. It was all me. I was rushing on these other areas and didn't think it through. And through not thinking it through properly and planning this out, I took myself down for a week. It happens. I mean, it's minor. No loss of revenue, no loss of, no people were affected, no puppies or unicorns were harmed in this issue. But it just goes to show that planning is so important when you're looking at change management and you're doing all that, because you can actually compromise yourself, right, in not planning this properly, right? And they say if you plan to fail, you fail to plan, or you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I think that was the cliche. So very important to kind of look at that and just make sure. I just wanted to kind of give you an update there. Pandemic wise and what's going on there. Another thing I wanted to add and just kind of share with you guys. Everyone's under a lot of stress right now, right? With going on. Don't make any changes without, changes to systems, changes to your environment, whatever you do, unless you are sure of those changes. The reason why is because a lot of us are doing it, and I just made that mistake with OBS, are doing it out of urgency. I got to get this done because I have like 30 things on the plate, so just let's get it done. If you're at that point, take a step back, especially whether you're looking at any types of technology, configurations, anything like that. Take a step back, have a team member to collaborate with you, to support you, ask you hard questions, do all that to make sure that you're making your changes, correctly in the right time frame, patch management, testing, things along that line. It's so important to do that right now, is because we're so under pressure. We're so under the gun, financially, business, relationships, family, friends, whatever that may be. And we're really kind of acting a lot of times in urgency. I got to get this done because I have other things to do. I made the mistake. I did the same thing, took myself out with OBS. So something to kind of really keep in mind, that all of us can do it. All of us can run into that challenge. It's just now debriefing, reminding ourselves that we can take control and make sure we do the things the right way and not make the same mistakes. So that's really kind of important. And I wanted to share that with you guys because I'm just seeing it more and more. I'm seeing it time and time again where people are urgently kind of trying to get things done, and things are happening that shouldn't have happened. And that's kind of where I made that mistake with OBS. What else has been going on with me? This lockdown, yeah, it's been interesting to kind of look at it in all aspects of it, how it's really affecting people in the general Toronto area for just, my demographic, the people I know and the community that I know. How it when it started the lockdown, it really looked at how are people going to survive. We already had one kind of lockdown, which was, I think 4 months, right at the start of the pandemic. And now we're on our second lockdown, and now people haven't really recovered. And now it's like, what do we do? Like, what happens now? Like, I've already suffered from the first lockdown. Now it's the second lockdown. How long is this going to last? And how's my business going to sustain? And you're probably going to ask, okay, how does this relate to cybersecurity? How does it relate to, what we're talking about, DailyCyber? Well, you look at business continuity, you look at supporting your environment, you look at, your community, you look at how we relate as a community and working together. That's all part of security. We're networked together and we collaborate together. And it's all security in that sense, right? It might not be technical security, but it's more administrative, network security in the sense of networking with people and individuals and making sure your community is protected and safe, right? Because again, it's collaborative, right? We all work together in some way or another. We all, have some sort of relationship with each other, especially if it's us business people that are working on this level. Is if we can provide support, we can provide guidance, we can help people while they're struggling. It helps them sustain their livelihood, their business, their employees, their customers, whatever that may be, and it supports the economy and supports everyone else. So it's so important to have these discussions now as times get tough, as times struggle, that we support each other through this. And I think it's essential. And this is why for my calls and everything that I'm doing through my emails, that's my focus, is how can I help? How can I help with your business, your cybersecurity program? Is there any business questions that myself or my team, the people I work with, be able to answer, just to provide support and to be able to do this? Because it is not easy right now, no matter where you are and what you're going through. Some people are struggling and going through harder situations. And let's talk about, like, when you look at the CISSP, the highest thing that you look at kind of in security is life, right? So you look at people with health issues, with concerns on that side, that are really going through that. And then you kind of look at, the things down from that, their relationships, their family, their finances, their well-being in their house, everything like that, their bills, all that is so important to make sure that you're helping people to maintain that, because it just keeps them healthy and you'll be able to work as a community. So that's why I bring in the CISP, because the first thing you look at is they talk about anytime you're looking at security programs, you look at life. Life is the most important thing. And this is no different from talking about security now. And we're really looking at when you're protecting your business and you're protecting, the solutions, the technologies, you're protecting people at the end of the day, right? The organization, that could be your board of directors, your board of managers, your C-suite, and then all the way down. You're looking at how can you protect them with the technologies, the administrative controls, the technical controls that you're putting in place to protect everyone. And that's clients, suppliers, vendors, sponsors, whatever that may be. There's so many variables in that you're looking at to protect, right? And it's all kind of circles around people, right? And the business itself, right? So I add that in just because it kind of gets in that mindset, trying to get us thinking that, as we do these security programs, that we're doing that, it seems we're deep in the mud. We're looking at the technology. We're looking at the administrative controls. We're looking at compliance. We're looking at the documentations and contracts and all that. But the why. Why are we really doing it? What's the bigger picture, right? And then you look at, the conversation I had with my boss last week and the week before. A lot of times these C-suite board of directors are looking at revenue. How can we sustain our revenue? How can we keep building? How can we support the company through our efforts of revenue to make sure that we're sustaining through the pandemic? We're helping, we're growing, and a lot of companies don't want to maintain, I don't want to say maintenance, but they want to keep growing. How do we keep growing? How do we keep paying for, our overhead, our staff, the things that we need to do? And that's by revenue. Make sure that they're maintaining their process, their systems, and their solutions, and then growing the revenue, constantly keep growing. So something to kind of think about, and something that was really interesting for me to kind of get my mind wrapped around of, that's the importance of why businesses really look at cybersecurity solutions, is to protect themselves and to keep growing time and time again. So that's kind of what I've been going through on that side. I'm trying to think of anything else that I wanted to share with you. Oh, lots going on the cybersecurity side. December 7th, we have our meetup coming up. It's we're going to have, I think it's 2 or 3 guest speakers. I have to confirm that. If you go to meetup.com, I'll actually have in the description below after. If you go there and under our group, you'll actually see we actually have some guest speakers that are going to be pretty amazing. One I know is from the Toronto Police. And they're going to be talking about cybersecurity and protecting yourself through the holidays. So really, really important to kind of look at that. And then we're going to have another guest speaker that I'll talk about after. And it's going to be, the description again is going to be in the meetup. But again, the goal for myself and James from Terra Nova is really to provide value, talk about defense in depth, and how people can protect themselves using the leading edge cybersecurity solutions to be able to be protected. And I think it's so important right now is just we keep having these conversations and we keep learning from each other and we keep sharing, because that's how we grow. That's how we implement and strategize these good systems and be able to say, okay, what's working for us, what's not working, how do we evolve? And that's a team effort. It's just us being able to share. This morning, I actually got contacted with another colleague who's asking me to do some shorter videos, right? And what's happening with my shorter videos right now is that they're going to be just kind of tidbits of cybersecurity tips that we're going to be going through. And through that, it's just going to be a quick, here's a tip, here's some things that we're seeing, and then kind of put it out there. And from what I'm understanding, it's going to potentially be weekly. I might change that to be daily, just because the amount of things that we need to look at and the things we need to do is so important. Just getting some messages here. James is saying that we're going to have 3 speakers. So we're going to have 3 speakers for the meetup. And then someone on Twitch is asking me to listen to their song. Thank you so much for the offer. I don't know if your song's on YouTube. Let me know. But yeah, if you want me to listen, put it on YouTube and I can check it out. So that's really kind of what's been going on with myself. The meetup, just really kind of getting out there, really helping organizations protect themselves and really do that. I think is so important is to look at how we can collaborate, how we can get out there, how we can share information when it comes to cybersecurity, and just keep getting out there, keep going. Starting in December, I'm going to have more guests on the show. I've been reaching out to more experts to be able to have them on the show and just be able to talk about what's going on in the industry, what they're seeing. So that's a recap of what I've been working on, what I've been looking at. I'm going to talk about 2 articles, news articles that I was looking at today, which I think is really important to really look at, what's going on in the environment, what's happening in today's environment of trends of cybersecurity, and we're looking at right now. And I'll just bring it up here. So what you'll see is this is the 3 steps. It's from Dark Reading. Vinay Sidnara, I think they pronounced his name correctly, wrote a great article when it comes to 3 steps the CISO can take to convey strategies to budget, their budgets and their presentations. So what we're looking at right now is we're at the end of Q4, end of the year. People are really looking at what to do for their cybersecurity budgets, right? And then kind of looking forecasting for 2021. And there's many factors going on right now. One is the unknown. What's going to happen? Well, what's really going to happen in 2021? How is that really going to look, right? So that's kind of the first and foremost thing is that, okay, we've got a lot going on right now with the pandemic and the challenges that. So how do we make sure we have business continuity, we're budgeting properly, and making sure that we're maintaining our our cybersecurity posture, right? And step 1 is gain an understanding of the organizational cybersecurity posture. So having an assessment, being able to look at what is your current posture look like and what do you think you need to implement to improve on that posture, right? And this could be, and they're talking about in this article, they're starting to observe continuous comprehensive visibility of risk to the organization by utilizing artificial intelligence, deep learning tools. So they're giving you kind of steps like that. Vulnerability assessments, penetration tests, security gap assessments, things like that will also help too, to be able to give you an understanding of where's your current posture and what you need to work on. And having your team or an external team do that to be able to say, okay, what's your industry, what's your business, what's your compliance, and where are you, today, and where do you need to be in the next 6 months to 1 year, right? And then drawing that roadmap out. Step 2, they say build a board presentation. So talking about like where are we on the cybersecurity spectrum, quantify cybersecurity across the business, show progress of the risk trends, where do we want to end up, and then how will we get there, lay out a plan, like a roadmap of doing that. Now through step 3, they talk about developing a 2021 budget. So this is where you get like a lot of companies that you're going to be working with right now is you're going to get budgetary numbers right now, trying to plan out, okay, what do I need, in 2021, and how do I, look at the budgetary numbers that those technologies or solutions are going to align with with the entire budget that I have or estimating that I'm going to need for 2021. So it's really important to kind of look at that now and strategize. What's that going to be cost? And then have a little bit of a wiggle room or an understanding of if it needs to be modified, if it needs to be adjusted as you're going, right? Keeping your costs as minimal as you can with the wiggle room of what if there's a reduction in business? What if you have to lay off people? What if now the business and the board of directors say, okay, well, hold on, we're having a procurement freeze right now. What does that really look at? So it's so important right now when you're looking at those different areas of your budget to make sure you have a little bit of a leeway right now, because we don't know. If this was normal times, I'm sure you'd leave kind of a little bit of a wiggle room for, different spend. Maybe you kind of give yourself maybe 15% or 20% of, just open budget, just in case you had to purchase something in the year, whatever that sweet spot is for you. But now, not just a spend, now you don't know how the business is going to be doing. So now you have to look at changing that to make sure that you're modifying in a way that you have that little bit of gap that you can kind of say, oh, great, like I need this for compliance, right? For example, say you need a vulnerability test or a pen test, because that's something that you're doing each and every year, and you need to do that to kind of meet your compliance. So with doing that, the main important thing is that you have that done to meet your compliance. Well, if you don't have the budget, now what do? Do you lose your certification? So you have to kind of make sure that you have a little bit of a leeway to make sure if the business takes a financial hit, that you still have that, financial window that you can pay for things that you need to get done. So very important to kind of look at that. So that's very important to look at when you're looking at, the steps to, as a CISO, to do this. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, if there's more steps, comment below. I'd love to hear from actual CISOs that are working the field, doing this day in and day out. I'm just kind of giving you my overview from reading this article and from what I've been talking to people about, what some of the things that we're having discussions about and what we're going through. So I think it's very important to evaluate that as you're going through to make sure that you're on track. You're on track to make sure you have everything you need, you have your budget, you're ready for the board presentation and presenting what the solutions are, the technology, the trends, what you're going to do, the budgetary numbers that you're going to need for 2021. But also in the presentation, I would actually state that, and this is just my recommendation, is that I'm leaving a window right now for this just because of forecasting for potential downtime because of the pandemic. I want to make sure that we meet these types of compliance needs, solutions, strategies, just so we don't lose out on our compliance, because our compliance could affect our clients. And I'll just use this as an example. There's some industries, some companies that they need compliance to be able to sell, promote, and do their business. And if they don't, they might lose clients. So I'm just going to say, for example, PCI. Say it's PCI compliance. Well, with your financial and all the information you're taking, if you lose out that compliance, it could affect your revenue. So having that in the actual presentation to associate to revenue loss is so important, right? And maintaining the revenue and maintaining the growth. When we do this, vulnerability tests, and we do this and we meet our compliance, it continues our revenue growth. If we don't, we can lose revenue. Something to kind of keep in mind as you're having these conversations. Now, like I said, if you're a CISO, this is common hat. You probably do this time and time and again. If you're not, and you're kind of getting ready to present to companies, this is things that to think about the CISOs are having discussions about. So something to know on both sides. Give me a second here. I'm going to bring up the next article. I think it's really important when we look at kind of some of the things that are going on. Now, James just responded back to me saying that what we're going to be having for the meeting is we're actually going to be having the police are going to be giving warnings of cybersecurity risks and scams through the Christmas holidays and to kind of prepare you for any Christmas scams or things that are going on. So you're well aware of anything that might be happening through Christmas and really kind of be prepared for it. So it's really important to have that. Give me a second here. I'm just working on this. Yeah, what I had to do for restreams, just so you guys know, I actually had to, before I could bring up the browser, but now because of what's going on with Restream, I can only bring up images, so I captured an image. So what you're going to see here, as I brought up this article, is how retailers can fight fraud and abuse this holiday season. And I think this is important, and James was just talking about this when it comes to, companies looking to protect themselves. As we kind of look at scams and things that are happening, and I've heard one that was happening, I think it was last week, a colleague of mine was calling a company for support. And what they did is they looked for the company's support phone number online. And through that process, as they were doing that, they found an exact replica of the company. The website looked the same. The URL was a little bit different, right? Some numbers or letters and numbers were changed. But other than that, everything else was the same. It was interesting to be able to kind of go through each and every aspect of it as they showed it to me after. Like, you literally think it would be that company's website. And they called that company and they went through the process of giving that person remote access and doing that, but they caught it very quickly, which was great. They were able to say, okay, look, you know what? This doesn't sound right. Let's stop this call, delete the remote session. But what happened was they got to the point where I would say they got, pretty much compromised, where they called in, they download some software, logged me in rescue, and they were able to get access to the person's computer, and they were able to start to walk through. And then what happens is they caught them quickly and said, this is not right. Stop the session, delete the software. And then they got their computer clean. But you can see how, they made a mistake of kind of going through that process of getting out there, not knowing the right contacts, and just, being in such a rush to validate that. Now, it happens. And again, this is, why cybersecurity awareness training is so important in this day and age, to keep training your team, your staff, ongoing, right? Especially with the harder times. Now, here's my belief on it. When things are easy, training's fine, right? Training's fine. When things are hard, training needs to increase. That's when people are going to make mistakes. When they're stressed, they're overwhelmed, things are going on in the environment, the economy, things along that line, that is when people are going to be even more stressed and they're going to make mistakes. So now let's talk about the holidays. I'm going to bring that kind of a little bit full circle back into the holidays. And this article here is how retailers can fight fraud and abuse this holiday season. And I'll put the link below in the comments. And they're talking about a lot of the things that, for them to be aware of when you look at the pandemic has a significant impact on retailers across the spectrum, right? Looking at brand, looking at grocery stores, big box stores, anything along that line. And then it goes through different things to just be careful of, when getting breached. I know there's a massive attack right now on retailers and schools when it comes to ransomware. And it talks about, having caption codes on websites to secure any of the authentication or logins, making sure that you have encryption. And this is something that I'm just kind of adding in. I'm just kind of briefly just recapping this. And I think the one thing that I'd recommend, just kind of phishing attacks, making sure, and this is where it comes back to cybersecurity awareness. Just like phishing and malware target employees, users also under attack. Images and infected URLs are being shared to websites, social channels to take consumers to malicious pages to steal payments, info, and accounts credentials. So to give you an example here and talk about this out in a full kind of attack methodology, is what you'll have is someone will go, hey, look, now I'm going to pick on Facebook here. Say there's a Facebook ad saying, hey, it's 20% off Black Friday sale right now, right? And it's going, okay, you need to buy these, buy one, get one free, 20% off. Click on this link right now, or click on the banner, and all of a sudden you'll go to the site. You click on it and you go to the site, and what happens, it looks exactly like that company. No different. They've scraped the site. They put up another website. But if you're smart enough, you'll look at the URL and it won't be the same. It'll be something different. And then you'll be like, okay, well, if you pay attention, you'll see that. But if not, you might go through the sale process. You might click on something, you might buy it, and you might add in your credit card number, and then all of a sudden you hit send, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, great. You get a confirmation email saying that it's going to be sent. And then you're like, okay, great, I bought it. And now you wait. You're like, okay. Now what happens in the back end? Who knows? They get access to your bank account, they get access to your credit card, whatever that may be. They start charging things on it, and now all of a sudden you've been compromised, right? Or they might have your username and password. And here's another thing that people make mistakes on. So you might enter in your username and password. Some people, not saying you guys, but other people enter in the same username and password they use across different platforms. So it's john@gmail.com, password is 12345. And that's one they know they're comfortable with, and they add it everywhere they go, from their bank account to online shopping to streaming, whatever that may be. That's what they use day in and day out. Now what happens is they enter that information, and now that person, the hacker, has access to their entire profile, because now they can go through each site they can find that they've associated with and just try that username and password. They could try Netflix, they can try different bank accounts, they can try their service provider, whatever that may be. They go through that, and now they look at getting compromised. So this is why it's so important for, one, cybersecurity awareness training, two, being aware of where you're shopping, right? Going to the source, right? If you have, I'm going to use Nike as an example here, but if you go to Nike.com or Nike.ca, and you're going to shop there, then what's happening is that you go directly to the site. They'll have the promos. They'll have everything that they're selling there. And if you see it on Facebook, all that, go to the site. Go to Nike.com. Go there and go, okay, where's the promo? If it's not there, then I would really, like, now it's gone to 80% question. Is this real? All right? Is this a real, promotion that they're having? So when you're going online, and how retailers can do that is they can make sure that, one, they have an education process of training their customers on, if you go to our site, here's where the promo is. Click on our website, go directly to Nike.com, and then have a little bit of a waiver. If you see this on other sites, please let us know. We have a fraud department that can be notified, and be aware that we are having challenges and issues that people are copying our ads and trying to take advantage of, our great customers like yourself. That, I would say, is so important in this day and age of retailers do that, is because it's educating. They're helping to educate their community on best practices. So that's kind of my recommendation kind of going forward when it comes to cybersecurity awareness training with the holidays. There's going to be a lot of scams coming out. There's going to be a lot of things happening, especially because people are overwhelmed right now. And as we know, when people are overwhelmed, they make mistakes. Things happen, right? And people kind of go through the process of not really paying attention because they're so overwhelmed. It's not because they're not detail oriented, and I want to be very clear. It's just because they're overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed with everything that's going on. So it's so important right now for us to keep reminding them in every aspect. If it's the retailers and emails that we're sending, if it's us, that cybersecurity people are constantly inundating them to the point where they're like, people are getting annoyed about it. I'd rather have someone tell me off, Brandon, screw off, I know this, and then remember, versus saying, I didn't know. I wish someone would have told me. Right? I'd rather have them be upset with me because I keep hitting this point home, than someone saying, okay, I didn't know I shouldn't be doing that, and get caught and get compromised. So that's my take on that, on just this information, just kind of going over and over again. Now, I'm just going through the comments here. I see Rod comment. He would like to go through. Brandon, would it be great to grab time and discuss better the security group initiative and the manifesto? Yeah, Rod, let me know. Message me. Let's go through that and see how I can help you out and help the group out. I'm just trying to see if there's any other. Z Varlas, I think that's the individual. Thank you so much for the YouTube link of your music. Is this your music? Did you produce this? And let me know, what is it that you like me to listen it for? Are you listening just to get exposure, or is it something that you are wanting me to use in my videos? Let me know. I'd like to kind of get a little bit more deeper on what you're looking for here. So right now, and I want to kind of start to slowly close this off. There's a lot going on in the industry, a lot going on with cybersecurity, lot individuals and companies are doing right now. If you have any questions, please let me know. Let me know. I'm here to help. I'm here to provide guidance. I'm here to kind of, collaborate, get my team involved, the team at Usato, to help and provide as much value and information as we can to support you, especially through the pandemic and all the challenges that, everyone's going through. So it's a lot going on right now. Depending where you are, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, I see here, LinkedIn, let me know, if you have any questions right now. I'm going to be here for another couple minutes and then I'm going to be ending off the podcast. I'm just trying to see here. I'll bring up the actual, meetup.com. I'll bring up the meetup group. I'll just tell you guys the name. So it's meetup.com, and there's Cutting Into Cybersecurity. Oh, actually, sorry, hold on. Daily Cybersecurity is mine. That's the Daily Cybersecurity community. That's my group. We have, and the one that we're going to have the event on is Cybersecurity Defense in Depth. That's the one that I'd recommend you guys check out. That's the one that we're going to have the Toronto Police, then the warning about and educating about cybersecurity threats through the Christmas holidays and how to protect yourself and all the different scams that are going on, anywhere from physical scams to online scams. I'm sure we're going to be talking about all different things. It's going to be very interesting. We're going to cover a lot of information. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else. But yeah, so go to meetup.com and then it's Cybersecurity Defense in Depth. Again, I'll put it in the comments below when it comes to the notes. I'm just going to see here if there's any other questions that we guys have. I know there's a little bit of delay too, so perfect. Well, guys, you know what? I'm going to end this off now because I can see we're coming close to the end. Just give me a second here. So guys, thank you so much for coming along this journey. Like I said, there's a lot going to be happening with me in the sense of doing my daily podcast live stream. I'm going to try to punch out daily little tips on cybersecurity. If you're following me on LinkedIn, follow me on LinkedIn. I'm going to be posting them there. We got the meetup group, a lot of education going on there when it comes to cybersecurity, having experts come in to really talk about cybersecurity defense, things that are going on that side. And then I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to add in there. I think that's it. Please let me know if there's anything I can add, anything. In Daily Cyber, more experts in December. Got a couple great ones coming up. Make sure you subscribe to the DailyCyber.ca. Go in there. If you want to be a guest, you listen to this, you're like, I have, some information, some solutions I'd like to talk about, and we just want to talk about the industry and share. Let me know as well, because I want to just really keep growing this out and help as many people as I can learn about what the trends and what's going on with the cybersecurity out there and just keep learning. So that's it for today's Daily Cyber. Don't forget, software's hackable, being connected is vulnerable. I'll see you next Daily Cyber.